What's up, everybody? This is the one-on-one show for today, February 23rd, 2017. Happy Friday, everybody. And man, so much has happened since the last time that we were on. Last week's show was live from the Colombian Bistro right next to our building here at the Fairwinds building located at 135 West Central Boulevard. That's where we're at, TORRE LAW, Suite 445. Come by, see us, call us, set an appointment, say hello. Phone number 407-733-0640. So much going on in the news. Tragic shooting in Parkland, Florida. Really close to home. I'm a native of Miami-Dade County, and I just want to say, condolences. I don't want to say thoughts and prayers. I want to say just my condolences to everyone in Broward County who may have lost someone. 17 kids passed away this past week, and it's just really sad. It's just sparked a huge debate over gun control. I'm not going to get too much into that today, but I think it's worth discussing briefly at the very least. If anybody wants to chime in, state their opinion, you can always comment in the comment section below. Also want to give a shout out and thank you again, like as I was saying, to Steven Schneider. Thanks again for being on the show last week, live from the Colombian Bistro. Last week we discussed basically the political situation in Colombia and what was going on there and whether that would lead to another mass exodus from Colombia, maybe another wave of immigration. But back to immigration stateside here in the United States and what we're doing with DACA. A lot of news and a lack of any action really by our legislators in federal government and even the president himself. So last Friday they were supposed to do a bill. It was a kind of a self-imposed deadline to place a bill on the floor for argument. Republicans basically gave an ultimatum. The ultimatum was as follows. The offer was that to grant 1.8 million Americans the path to citizenship, 1.8 DACA recipients the path to citizenship in the course of 10 to 12 years. In exchange for that, the administration wanted $25 billion for the wall. They wanted to eliminate what they are calling quote-unquote chain immigration, so no more sibling-to-sibling petitions and no more children over the age of 21 petitioning for their parents. The mindset behind that was basically that the DACA recipients right now that would then become eligible for citizenship would then be petitioning for their parents when they reach the age of 21. And I think that at some point they wanted to at least compromise. They would carve out an exception to not give those kids specifically the opportunity to petition for their parents. But all for naught. It all fell apart. It was an ultimatum basically posed for Republicans. I don't think it was a good deal in light of the chain immigration argument. It was not a good deal to make. The deal did not happen, and completely, frankly, drawn out in the news completely by the fact that everything that happened in Parkland this week occurred, and rightfully so. That conversation should take over the news cycle. Because it's a problem that we're dealing with. We dealt with here in Orlando with the Pulse nightclub shooting, and that shooting 49 people died. So this is just twice in our recent history here in the last couple of years that Florida has been directly affected by these mass shootings and the weapons involved, particularly the AR-15, a huge subject of debate. But again, we'll talk about that in a little bit more in a minute, and especially if somebody chimes in. Anybody who wants to comment on the issue, please feel free. I would respond to any comment, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. But also in the news with DACA, a New York appellate judge ruled that DACA is okay, and DACA needs to stay in place at least for the immediate future. So for those people that were trying to apply for their renewals and everything, you can still get them in. The deadline is March 5th, according to the deadline that was imposed by President Trump. It was a phase out. So basically, DACA applications were being phased out on a 90-day period when he made the announcement in September. That period is actually effective and coming up on March 5th. That leaves approximately another 700,000 people without the ability to renew and no status, puts them immediately into the crosshairs of removal or deportation proceedings, which brings me to my next point. Again, hitting close to home, spotted this week. We saw U.S. Customs Border Patrol spotted at the Greyhound station. This is a topic that's starting to come up more and more as to whether it's an illegal search and seizure, especially considering that on these buses, it's just not undocumented individuals on the buses. There are plenty of people who are either residents or United States citizens riding the buses, and they're being randomly stopped here with no probable cause, no suspicion of having committed a crime, and they're being stopped and being asked to present papers. Is that a dictatorship? Is that a violation of the rights of these U.S. residents, United States citizens that are along for the ride? And we already had an incident like that in Homestead, Florida, and now we're seeing it here close to home in Orlando. Again, if you need any help with your DACA renewal application, the deadline's coming up. It's right upon us. If you have DACA and you need to file a renewal, please contact us as soon as possible. Phone number is 407-733-0640. 407-733-0640. Also going to give a shout out to Andy. Say hi, Andy.
Hey, guys.
And Andy likes to be behind the scenes. Andy doesn't come on camera, but he's on the mic and he's here present. And Andy is actually my production manager. He's the one that comes with me, sets up the camera, sets up all the audio, and sets everything up so that we can do these shows. So I want to say thank you very much to Andy and his company, Excellence in Podcasting. So if you have any podcasting needs or would like to do a Facebook show of your own, please contact Andy at Excellence in Podcasting. Phone number is 407-476-0381. 407-476-0381. Andy, how are we doing for time?
We are doing good. We're sitting about 6 minutes right now.
So we're doing great for time. I usually we have guests on. Recently, like I said, Steven Schneider. Thank you again to Laura Klossner, who appeared on our show 2 weeks ago from Cubans on the Run. Coming soon. Also on the website, we now have a YouTube channel where all our past shows are on the YouTube channel. You can look me up at Juan de la Torre, or you can look up the One-on-One Show on YouTube. We have a channel. Please subscribe. You can look at all the past shows and all the topics. The DACA has been hot. We've been talking about it since December when the congressman came on the show. Congressman Darren Soto was on the show in December, right around Christmas. And he told us about the government shutdown. He said that was looming. He told us that Democrats were going to make DACA a priority, which is interesting because President Trump today, February 23rd, today, mentioned that he's taking the position that Democrats are now abandoning the whole argument on DACA. I don't think it's an abandonment. I just think that people came to the table to negotiate, and an ultimatum was presented. Basically, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I haven't made it a secret. I'm a liberal. I try to stay too much away from the too highly partisan political politics on the show, unless somebody wants to come on and debate them. I'd like to, anytime that there's a debate, I would love to present both sides of that coin, both the Democrat, Republican, Independent. So please contact us. Come on the show. Comment. Give us a call. Let's do it live. We're definitely looking for more guests to come on. Again, our phone number is 407-733-0640. Parkland. Wow. I don't know what to say about that. I do know that something reasonable needs to take place, and I do know that both sides. I don't think that people want to take away everybody's guns. I mean, let's just be clear. From a legal perspective, let's tie this back into the law, okay? The Second Amendment is a fundamental right. It's a part of the Bill of Rights. There is a right to bear arms, unless you want to argue, like some liberals do, that right to bear arms is only in connection with a well-formed or organized militia. And I point that out because there's been a lot of posting on Facebook this week with people circling that second half of the amendment where it says this people's right to arms should not be infringed, and their ability to defend themselves even against their own government should not be infringed. That's the second part of the amendment. The first part talks about there being a well-formed and organized militia. And I'm not making that argument, but plenty of people do. Plenty of people do. And if you want to comment and leave your opinion, because there should be a discussion. There should be a national debate. Been debating it all week with friends, colleagues, Republicans alike, and Democrats, talking about this issue all week. And what I'm seeing is just that people are just way too far to the left or way too far on the right, and not really talking about some reasonable compromises on this issue. I think that when people say that it's too soon to discuss this, and after the horrible tragedies that occurred last week, I don't think, one, it's not opportunistic. I think that after everything that we've seen in Las Vegas and in Orlando with Pulse, and dating all the way back, many years ago when high school shootings first came on the scene with the horrible tragedy at Columbine and Colorado. Then after that, Aurora, all these different places that should be named and kept in our thoughts. We should bring that to the forefront of our thoughts. It should be fresh because there's it seems to me like there's a cycle of these things happen, the debate flares up, and then we got thoughts and prayers, and then it goes away. No, the debate should be had, and there should be a reasonable discussion about this. Reasonable. I keep really emphasizing reasonable, because people, I think, get really passionate. I mean, I was upset about it. I'm just be frank. I got 2 kids. Andy, you got kids?
I do. I have 2 kids.
How many kids? How did you feel about it?
Concerned.
Yeah, I think any reasonable parent in America should be concerned about the safety and well-being. A bomb threat today at my son's would-be middle school. He goes to middle school next year at Timber Springs Middle School, and we need to get better security for our schools. We need to do a better job. Had the opportunity to discuss the matter with a candidate for Orange County Commission, Eric Rawlings. Shout out Eric Rawlings. Last night I was at his event. Eric, he's talking about, at a local level, the school district, the school board, and the county can do things to at least improve security measures at our local schools by providing metal detectors and different types of things to increase security. One of the weird things I saw on Facebook was bulletproof backpacks. Man, I never thought I'd see that.
That's insane.
It's insane, but I'm actually thinking about getting my kids one. I mean, I know that maybe I'm being overly protected, but I mean, if it's protection is the name of the game, and that's the main argument on the right, as far as Second Amendment is concerned, is that we have a right to bear arms in order to protect ourselves, and we do have a right to bear arms to protect ourselves, and we should be entitled to protect ourselves. I could tell you, I certainly want to own a firearm and have it in my possession for protection purposes. I think that's the right that's clearly outlined for the Second Amendment. But the concept of the rationale, legally speaking, that the Second Amendment should be completely untouched or unrestricted, is, I think, a little crazy, because there are other amendments in the Bill of Rights. The First Amendment, for those of you, just a civics reminder, the first 10 amendments are the Bill of Rights. And the First Amendment, there's restrictions on that for speech that might incite violence. You can't do that. You can't do speech that would incite violence. Fourth Amendment has plenty of exceptions. Fourth Amendment legal search and seizure has exceptions for officer safety, for airport exception, certain automobile exceptions, and all kinds of exceptions. So I just think there should be a reasonable debate amongst the parties, and there should be some certain things about what can be done. I think President Trump brought up this week. That the age to buy a gun should be raised to 21. I mean, you can't buy a beer in most places. In most places in the 50 states, you can't even buy a beer until you're 21. I mean, Europe doesn't do it that way. I think most places in South America don't do it. I mean, I think they want to teach responsible drinking, and people start drinking at an earlier age. But if our mindset is that 21 should be the age to drink alcohol, then why, if they can't drink alcohol, they can't have a beer responsibly. Why should they own a firearm, let alone an AR-15 or any type of weapon like that. Um, so I think that's a reasonable proposal by the president. Kudos to the president for bringing that out, and I think that out of respect to all the people that we've lost here in the state of Florida, at Pulse and Parkland and any other incidents that have occurred, I think that we owe it to at least have a reasonable discussion. Really surprised by all the millennials. Wow, and there was a discussion about whether they're millennials. Somebody commented on my Facebook that they're Generation Z, and you know, and I think I think she told me that it was from 1980 to something. Like, wait, I'm pretty sure I'm Generation X. I was like, Andy, am I Generation
I
X?
think you are. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I'm Generation
Yeah.
X. So, but the younger generation now that comes behind that, everybody's been born 2000 and on, really made an appearance this week with this issue. My alma mater, Palmetto High School, Miami Palmetto. Shout out to the Panthers, Panther Pride. Had a protest or showing out a demonstration this week, and you know what? In I don't agree with kids skipping class. I think, Andy, I'm gonna be very honest about this.
Okay.
And how are we doing for time again?
We're doing good. We're a little. That'll be fine. Go.
Okay. I'm a little thinking that I think that some of these kids are just using this to skip class.
Oh, absolutely.
So some of these kids are just trying to get out of class. But that being said, I think, welcome to the arena. Hopefully these kids we've always said that the younger generation doesn't vote. 18 and up, 18 to more or less 28. People don't start voting. So it's great to see that they are they register to vote at 18 in high school. They pass around the cards and they pass around the selective service, and you register for these things, and then they go unused. So hopefully we'll see some of these kids actually turn out some ballots. However they intend to vote, Republican, Democrat, I don't know. It's their business, none of mine. But hopefully they turn out some ballots come November and in the August primary. But a lot of changes going on. Immigration is still a hot topic. On that note, we got some more information coming out on our website real soon. We got a whole presentation on H-1Bs. H-1Bs. It's H-1B season. H-1B season. I'll come back to Parkland in just a minute. But H-1Bs in April 1st opens up H-1B applications. H-1Bs are for employment visas, temporary workers, basically, and those applications are due April 1st. Now, April 1st is not a deadline, quote unquote, but because the visas are numerically capped, the first 26,000 applications are basically considered for the visa, and usually those numbers run out within the first week. It's first come, first serve. So if you haven't applied, haven't done it, you might want to look at that soon, especially employers or different companies that may be watching the show, or anybody that works at the general counsel or anything that is considering doing H-1Bs on behalf of their corporation. We have a whole tutorial, video slideshow that's going to be coming out on the website, and we're going to be doing more stuff like that, presenting more information, more content coming at you from the one-on-one show and Delatory Law. As you know, the one-on-one show is brought to you by Delatory Law, right here in the heart of downtown Orlando, off Central 135 West Central Boulevard, Suite 445, Orlando, Florida 32801. Our phone number is 407-733-0640. Wow. And so much to discuss. I know Parkland was a hot topic, and it's not a hot topic. It's people. We have to humanize this thing, and I think that we owe it to our fellow citizens, our fellow Floridians. I mean, I've grown up here. I went to high school in Miami. I did all my college in Orlando. I went to I got my undergraduate degree at UCF. I got my graduate degree at UCF. I went to law school right here down the street at Florida A&M. And Mark Nejame this week was talking about a lot of these issues, and I think he's presenting some very reasonable positions. I think there has to be an extended discussion, and this should be at least debated in our legislation. That being said, I'm not an elected official. I don't make these decisions. You guys vote your conscience and do what you see fit. And I think that out of respect to Parkland, Florida, and Stoneman Douglas, there's only one appropriate way to close the show this week. And I ask everybody out there who hasn't already done so, to take a moment of silent meditation and pray for Parkland, Florida, and pray for Stoneman Douglas. And on that note, I'll see you guys next week.